Hello, I'm AlTonya Washington, and I first realized I wanted to be a writer the summer after I graduated college. I've been a romance fan since I was a teen, and I believe it was Toni Morrison who said, if there is a book that you want to read that hasn't been written yet, you must write it. And one afternoon, I realized the books I'd once loved were missing something, which were characters who looked like me. And in the early 90s in South Carolina, finding romance books with African American characters was still pretty difficult. So I decided to take Miss Morrison's advice and write my own, and I've been doing it ever since. My latest title, A Lover's Redemption, was actually inspired by my readers. Actually, it was the telling of the hero's story that was inspired by my readers. Brogue Tisano first appeared as a villain in A Lover's Shame, which was the spin-off title from my Ramsey series, and that was first published by Harlequin in 2006 with the release of A Lover's Dream. So my readers were so intrigued by Brogue's story, his presence throughout what has become the Tisano series, that they asked, demanded, that I do something about that, specifically about him being a villain. So here we are. Brogue actually has two stories where he portrays the hero, A Lover's Redemption, and the novella I released before that, Lover's Life. So in terms of the most surprising things I've learned are how the characters dictate the flow of the story. The stronger the characters, the more vocal they are, the smoother the story flows, and the more material you'll have, which makes for a more robust storyline. As for advice for becoming a better writer, I advise not to write when you don't feel like it. Don't force it. Don't force it. Some people say, I'm going to write 2 chapters or 2,000 words today. And what can happen is they're so focused on making that quota that the writing suffers, and they'll begin to resent their writing time. So when folks ask, how I stay motivated to write all this stuff, I suggest staying away from obligating yourself that way. Don't do it. Okay. Yeah. I've written traditionally, and independently. So you can do this and still make your deadlines. You'll find that when you write because you want to, the inspiration, the material, it just comes more abundantly. Another piece of advice I'd share is to read, and often. I read a lot and I read diversely. I love romance, but I read everything from horror and fantasy. Stephen King is like my favorite author. I read biographies and crime fiction. J.D. Robb's In-Depth series is my favorite in the crime fiction arena, as is Greg Iles. I love his work. So for me, it's whatever appeals, and you'd be amazed by how much that'll motivate and enhance your writing process. So try it and see for yourself. Thank you.